right, folks, you are somewhere here. I want to invite you to take your hands over your chest if that's comfortable for you. And you can use your breath as well. You don't have to touch your body if you don't want to, but let's tune in with our hearts, with our beating hearts. And let's take some breaths intentionally. And as you breathe, welcome the process of breathing. Some meditation teachers talk about each breath as a pearl on a long strand of pearls, and that whole strand is your entire life. And as you breathe, notice the space of your breath and the shape of your breath. And feel how the inhaling of your lungs and expanding of your breath holds your heart. And your heart is centered between your lungs, behind your breastbone, in front of your spine. And as you breathe, you are breathing in the life force and the substance of stars, the gases that create the breath that our bodies need were gases that were created in the Big Bang some 4.5 to 5 billion years ago. And the breath that animates your body, that gives life to your body, is also breath that you share with all other life on Earth. And you know that as an animal, you are breathing with the plants, and they are breathing with you. And if it's comfortable for you to close your eyes, then close your eyes. And as you continue to notice your breath and attune with your heart, remember that your heart is central in your life force. And from the centrality of your heart, your body is animated, comes to life. And your living body is warm. It's producing heat. And your life has an eminence. It has a radiance. You have a unique energy. You and me are different. Your energy is different than every other body's energy who you will ever encounter. And even though there are billions of people alive right now, billions and billions and billions of people who will ever live, your unique energy and radiance is special to you. And in the next couple of breaths, see if you can try to sense, try to feel your own energy. Your own warmth. Now, if each one of us were to drop an anchor through the places where we feel most of our weight right now, and that anchor were to go directly into the center of the earth, we would all be standing in the same place. But if each one of us were also to reach out from our spaces right now, through our heads and through our hearts, up, out, and into space, we would all be in a different place. And as you're ready, if your eyes have been closed, allow them to open again and perceive this image of a night sky. And imagine that you are a star. And just like you, stars are born, they grow into their maturity, and they also age. They will die. They don't always exist. They come into being, they'll move out of being. And as you gaze upon this night sky, see how many stars there are. And allow yourself to constellate intuitively. Maybe some stars will say hello to you. They might peek out at you from this image. They might point a direction at another star, and a shape might emerge. Relationality between a group of stars. And as you imagine constellations between the stars, sense into your own connections. Call in the constellations of your friends, your loved ones, your teachers, your students, your comrades, your colleagues, maybe everyone else on this call. Imagine how we connect together. Remember that constellations are stories, and there are many, many, many stories that can be told. And as you sense out into your own connections, feel how each direction has its own story. And let's take a few intentional breaths right now, and you might want to close your eyes again. And in these few intentional breaths, try to come back to that feeling, that sensation of your own essence. And see if you can imagine or direct or transmit or feel that your essence can travel, can constellate within your relational connections. You might imagine a constellation of two, perhaps just you and one other being. Imagining or sensing how their unique star being, their eminence or radiance, their energy is something you can reach towards and palpate and connect with. You might grow from there into 3 or 5 or 12. And sense yourself, imagine yourself being constellated. And inside of this constellation, I want to invite you to center yourself. And that's not to say that you are the center of the constellation, but you are inside your own experience. You are breathing your own essence, expressing your own energy. And you are also part of a larger dynamic whole. The star that you are is an important part of the constellation. Without you, this constellation wouldn't be able to tell the story that it does. But without the constellation, you also wouldn't be able to tell the stories that you do. Let's take 2 or 3 more breaths. And in these breaths, you might send your own prayers and intention, gratitudes, or just sense in with these connections. Then I want to ask you to feel and see if you can find some description words, some language that you can use internally for yourself. How does it feel to be a star? How does it feel to be vibrant, expressive, unique, the one and only you, special, and here for a set amount of time? And how does it feel to be part of a constellation, to be constellated and constellating? How does it feel to not be the only one, but to be one of many? To not be the most special, but to have something special to offer when you also receive the eminence, the energy of other stars. Notice your felt sense. Notice any language that comes in, any images, vibratory qualities. Mm. And from this space, imagine what would it feel like inside of the constellation. You know you're constellated. You know that there are billions and billions and trillions of stars in the sky. But in your felt sense right now, try and imagine that you're the only star in the sky. Push out the other stars from your consciousness, or try to. Imagine that you can direct how constellations are shaped everywhere. Even though you're just a star, you're going to tell the story for the other stars. What does that feel like in your body? What comes up for you? Then I want you to imagine that all the other stars are looking at you. And how they're looking at you, I don't know. Maybe they're looking at you with awe and amazement. Maybe they're looking at you like they want to consume you. Maybe they're looking at you with disdain. Maybe they're not looking at you at all. What if they weren't looking at you at all and you were the only star in the sky? And then breathe again and expand into your knowing that you're constellated, that your star is a special star, but in some ways it's also a very regular star. Stars are incredible, really powerful, quite magical phenomena, and there are lots of them. Remember again your connections, your constellations, and intentionally connect with one or a few other light bodies that come to mind, that come to heart. Connect in the directions that help you feel known and loved. Connect in the directions that feel joyful, celebratory, playful. Feel yourself together with. And then if your eyes have been closed, once again, allow them to open and see the night sky. Stretch out. Twist your body, move it, shimmy your shoulders. Okay, so I want to invite just a couple moments of a check-in. And this was a little bit of a just a test run around embodying astrology. So how did that feel? Were any of you able to imagine that you were a star? Yeah, I see some nodding. Okay. Yeah. How how did it feel to have a difference between like a one and only star or a star where a lot of people were looking at you or a star where you felt constellated? Or any of the different star states that we went through? What are some descriptor words? And I want to invite folks to put them in the chat. And I see a question about a break. And yes, we will have a break in the middle, but also please take care of your own body. If you need a break before that, take it. So let's get some feeling tones, some keywords. How did that feel? Okay. Constellated felt free, expansive, and connected. Constellated felt expansive. Connected. Yeah, big, soft star heart. From possibility to limited, from awe to loneliness, from collaboration to having to guess about the self. Constellated felt empowered and possibility. Felt like a dance. Feelings of belonging. Feeling alone, lacking innovation. Supported, alone, pressure. The idea of telling everyone else's story through my own filters felt so bleak and impoverished. Constellated felt like a dance or movement, and alone felt oppressive or tucked in. Expansion, constellated, and collapsed alone. Lone star felt insecure. Potent and constellated felt easeful. Yeah. Yeah, so really beautiful. Okay, so what we just did, folks, is we just embodied an axis of possibility. And I'm going to name this axis as a zodiacal axis between Leo and Aquarius. So in your body, your heart, Leo, or excuse me, your heart is said to be governed by the sign Leo in medical astrology or in embodied astrology. We can think of Leo as a self-centrality, right? The life eminence and the life-giving essence that is most expressive of the self. And your personal eminence, your own energy is very unique to you. And typically when we feel alone in that, whether it's alone together with others or just alone, that's not a great state, right? It's isolated, it's lonely, it feels cold, it can be shut down. And alone, especially in kind of a polarity with others, can feel really terrifying. There can be a lot of feelings of like control or, fear or the power of the group or this kind of like dynamic that can feel pretty activating. Aquarius is the opposite sign of Leo, and Aquarius in our bodies resonates with our connective tissues. So your heart is continuous with your veins and your arteries, right? And your veins take the blood, the oxygenated blood from your heart and deliver it to every single cell in your body. And veins go from bigger to smaller, right? And so they get tiny, tiny, tiny at their ends. And then there's this zone where the tiny, tiny, tiny bits become your arteries, and then they pull up the deoxygenated blood that's carrying what your body doesn't need back to your heart so you can exhale it out. And your heart, your veins, and your arteries are a continuous system. Leo, as the centrality of life force, is part of everything. Your body and your life is part of everything. You are breathing with life. You were created from life. And as an individual, you are part of many communities and networks and collectives.